Hello students, today we will continue with the chapter Force and Pressure. Till now we have learnt what is force, its types and effects. Okay, now we will continue with pressure. What is pressure? Pressure is nothing but the force acting on a unit area of a surface. Now, what is the need to learn about pressure? After force, we have learnt everything about force. So, what is the need to learn about pressure? It is because maybe you all have observed that the amount of force which we applied on any object and the amount of impact we get may be differ. Many times it get changed. Why it happens? Suppose if we push hard on a piece of wood with our thumb, the thumb does not go into the wood. But if we push a drawing pin with the same force into the wood, then what happened? The drawing pin goes into the wood. And it happens so because the force of thumb produces a small pressure when it acts on a larger area of wood. But the same force of thumb produces much greater pressure when it acts on a small area of wood with the help of that thumb pin, paper pin. So, to understand the impact of applied force, we should learn about pressure. As the impact of force is also depend upon the amount of area on which the force is applied. As I explained you in the example of drawing pin and wood. So, what are the factors on which the pressure depends? Pressure depends on two factors: force applied and the area over which the force acts. When a force acts over a larger area, remember this fact, when a force acts over a larger area of an object, it produces small pressure. But if the same force acts over a small area of object, it produces large pressure. Let's have some everyday example to get clear with the concept of pressure. Porter carry the heavy loads. On his head, he used to put a piece of a cloth. And why he used to put it? See, by placing this round piece of cloth on their head, what does the porter do? They increases the area of contact. Area of contact between what? Between the load with their head. And when they increases the area of contact, larger the area, so the pressure or which is going to be fall down on their head is reduced, and it becomes easier for them to carry the heavy load. That's why. You can take another example. Every day you used to go to school with your school bags. Have you ever observed the straps of your school bags used to be wide? It is not thin straps you are having. You are having wide straps. And why is it so? Because as wider the strap is, as less pressure you used to feel on your shoulder. Your bags are very heavy, but less pressure you used to feel. You just think that if that strap will be thin, then you will feel more pressure. Okay, so larger the area of contact, less the pressure you are going to feel. Remember this concept. Now you can have one more example. Why a sharp knife cuts better than a blunt knife? Now in case of sharp knife, the edge will be thin. Edge is thin means when you will apply the force, the area of contact will be small as the edge is thin. So less area of contact, so larger the pressure applied and the object will cut nicely. Whereas if you will make use of blunt knife, so in case of blunt knife, the edge is thicker. Thicker the edge, you will apply the same force, but this time the area of contact is larger. So larger area, the whatever force you are applying, the pressure get reduced, means lesser the pressure applied. So if less pressure will be applied, then the object, we can't able to cut that object that much nicely. So I hope you understood the concept of pressure and area. Pressure and area both are inversely proportional. Remember this. Now, students, like solids, liquid and gases also exert pressure on the walls of the container. Let's have different activity to show this. First, we will start with pressure exerted by liquids. All the liquids exert pressure on the on the base of the container as well as on the walls of the container. Let's have an activity to show that liquid exert pressure on the bottom of its container. What you have to do, you have to take a cylindrical transparent pipe which is going to be open from both the end. Okay. Now at one end you have to cover it with a rubber balloon as shown in the figure. After then fill some water in it. When you will fill the water and the water level means with the water you are going to fill in the column, what will happen? The rubber sheet, that rubber balloon is going to bulge out. And when you will increase the amount of water in the column, then obviously the rubber balloon, balloon is going to be increased more in size. The bulging, as you will put water and the bulging out of rubber balloon, it proves that liquid exerts pressure on the bottom of container. And when you will put more water and it will increase in size, it proves that greater the height of water in the column will be there, greater will be the bulging of the rubber sheet. So by this activity you can conclude liquid exerts pressure on the bottom of container and the pressure exerted by liquid depends on the height of the liquid in the column. Now we will have another activity to prove that liquid exerts pressure on the wall of its container. Now for this what you have to do, you have to take a plastic bottle, make a hole at the bottom, means just above the bottom, and insert a cylindrical tube in it. And the end of that cylindrical tube again just close it with a rubber balloon. Now fill the bottle with the water. You will find that water moves towards that balloon. From that cylindrical outlet the water will moves, and that balloon which you add over there, you have adhered there, that balloon is going to bulge out. It proves that water is now exerting pressure on the walls also. And as the amount of water you will increase in the column in that bottle, the bulging, the size of the balloon also increases. So by this activity you can conclude that liquid exerts pressure on the walls of container and the pressure exerted by liquid on the walls of container increases with increasing depth. Now we will have one more activity related to liquid pressure. In this activity we are going to show that liquid exerts equal pressure at the same depth. Now for this what you have to do, again take a plastic bottle. Make 4 different holes in 4 different directions at the same height from the bottom. And now fill the water bottle with the water. You will find from these holes the water streams, the jet of water streams used to be moves out. And when it is coming out and falling down on the surface, you will observe that from every direction they are covering the equal distance. Okay, so it proves by this activity you can conclude that liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container and a liquid exerts equal pressure at the same depth, as it is covering the same distance now when it is coming out in every direction. So we can conclude liquid exerts equal pressure at same depth. Now Bujo is having a query over here that he had seen the fountains of water coming out of the leaking joints. So he is asking that is it due to the pressure exerted by water on the walls of the pipe? What you say all? Yes, it is due to the pressure exerted by water on the walls of the pipes. Now next we will learn about the pressure exerted by gases. Now all the gases exert pressure on the walls of their container. To demonstrate this, to show this, let's have an activity. Take a rubber balloon and fill it with air. When air is filled with the balloon, it gets inflated from all the sides, and it happens because due to air or the gas, it exerts pressure over inner walls of the balloon. Now tell me what will happen when you will open the mouth of the inflated balloon? Yes, all gas will move out and the balloon will regain its original size. Now suppose if the balloon is having hole in it, is it going to inflate? No, it is not going to inflate because the air is going to move out from that hole, so it will not able to create that pressure inside the inner wall of the balloon. So it will not inflate. So all these activities tells us that gases also exert pressure on the walls of the container. The next we are going to deal with atmospheric pressure. Now what is atmosphere? Yes, the envelope of the air which surrounds the earth is termed as atmosphere. And students, I hope you all know it very well that this atmosphere extends up to several kilometers above the surface of earth. And air has weight. You all are aware of this concept. Air has weight. And the weight of atmosphere exerts a pressure on the surface of earth and on all the objects of the earth. And this pressure is known as atmospheric pressure. You all know what is pressure. Pressure is the force per unit area. So in case of atmospheric pressure, you can say that a unit area of earth's surface and a very tall column filled with air standing on it. Then the weight of the air in this column will be the atmospheric pressure at that place. You can understand this atmospheric pressure like this. Okay. Listen it carefully. Means suppose a cylindrical column is standing in a unit area. So that unit area will be the area on which we are applying force. So the air in that column will be that whatever the force is applying is the atmospheric pressure falling on that place. Okay. Now to learn how large or small is the atmospheric pressure, let's have an activity with the help of rubber sucker. What is rubber sucker? Rubber sucker is a device made up of rubber or sometimes plastics that sticks firmly to the flat and smooth surface on pressing. Now how it sticks and why all this happens? It is due to atmospheric pressure. Let's learn about the concept. What you have to do? You have to take a rubber sucker and press it on the smooth surface. When we press the rubber sucker on a smooth surface, the cup part of the rubber sucker gets flattened and it gets stick to the surface. As most of the air between the cup and the surface escapes out and the sucker sticks because the pressure of the atmosphere acts on it. And if you have to pull it away, what you have to do, you have to apply more force than the atmospheric pressure that is acting on it. Otherwise, you won't able to pull it back. If complete vacuum is created between the surface, then it is not at all possible for you to take the rubber sucker out back. Okay, so that large the atmospheric pressure is. Now the question arises, if atmospheric pressure is such a large pressure and it is acting on every object, then why we are not getting crushed under this weight? And it happens so because whatever the atmospheric pressure is acting on our body from outside is balanced by the blood pressure acting from inside. So we do not get crushed. Means from inside of our body also same amount of pressure is going to be act, which is equal to the atmospheric pressure falling on us, which cancels each other's effect. That's why we are not getting crushed under it. Now one more concept is given to you in last is from the scientist Otto von Guericke, a German scientist of 17th century. This scientist has also explained you how large the atmospheric pressure is. What he had done, he invented a pump to extract the air out of a vessel. Okay, so what he had done, he took two hemispherical hollow cylindrical metallic ball, okay, around 51 centimeter diameter. Then he joined both the hemispherical ball, and with the help of his pump, he just suck out all the air in between it. Okay, so it get adhere, both the balls get attached with each other. Now he employed 8 horses on both sides to make it separate. Okay, as horsepower is the largest power we used to know. So 8 horses on both the sides he employed to take it back, both the hemispherical metallic ball, to get it separate. But both the teams are not able to get it separate. Such large the atmospheric pressure is acting on that hemispherical ball from outside. So I hope the concept of force and pressure is clear to you all. With this, I end up.